So, we got some good news. Joe Burrow says he feels he has close to 100% recovered from his calf injury. And we saw last week versus the Cardinals. He's moving around, he's maneuvering, he's getting the job done. He looks like he is back, which is I think I say that for all Bengals fans at this moment, how absolutely excited we are, because the torment / trauma we have gone through over the last period of time with him dealing with this injury, and now to hear that he's almost 100% back is one of the best feelings in the world. Because we even saw last week, there's a couple times where the offensive line broke down and Joe had to roll out and outrun people. He had a couple runs last week where he looked really, really good. And that's when Joe's at his best. Is when he's rolling out, is when he's moving around the pocket, extending the play and looking down the field. I mean, don't get me wrong, Joe is still good in the pocket, but the first couple weeks have been him pretty much being a statue. Can't move. Gotta go like this the whole entire time. And the second pass rush comes in, he throws the ball away. We weren't able to get down the field. Him actually step in his throws and get the ball down the field. And now it looks like that might be a little bit, of a thing of the past. Now, I'm not saying, with the fact that he feels almost 100% again, that we should go out there and play aggressive and have him, potentially take some hits, throughout this game and just kind of play, loose football. I would say still protect him because, again, he's not 100%. He's close to 100%. But this does mean that we can open up this offense a little bit more. And hopefully, no more vanilla offense. Last week, we really went away from the vanilla offense. We even had a flea flicker. You told me the first couple weeks that we were eventually going to run a flea flicker, and I'd call you crazy. But we actually ran a flea flicker, and while we ended up targeting Trent Irwin on a 60-yard pass instead of, Jamar Chase, yeah, it would have probably went better if it was Jamar Chase, let's be honest. But we actually ran a flea flicker. We actually ran a lot more screen passes, short throws to the outside. And, it's still going to be, a little bit of a process before he's 100%. But we have this week, and if we win this week, then we have a bye week, obviously, which is awesome. And then we play the 49ers. So, if he could be 100% ready to go for the 49ers game, guys, I can't stress this enough. This is going to be a really good second half of the season. And again, just taking a look at our schedule here. Let me just go ahead and pull up the Cincinnati Bengals. Right now we say it's 26% chance to make the playoffs. But if we beat Seattle this week, I mean, we're now sitting at a 34, 35, actually 32% chance to make the playoffs. And then, again, if we beat the 49ers, hypothetically speaking here, we automatically go up to a 47% chance to make the playoffs. And depending on what the Ravens do, if the Ravens lose this week, or even let's go back to if we just beat the Seahawks going into our bye week. We beat the Seahawks going into our bye week, and the Ravens lose. The Browns are going to lose, right? The Steelers are on a bye week. 31% chance. I mean, if things go our way, this is going to get really, really good for us. So say the Panthers beat... Let's not go crazy now. Jags win. Let's say the Saints beat the Texans. Because keep in mind, at this point, wild cards are always a thing. I think the Bills will beat them. Let's say the Cowboys beat the Chargers, though. And again, every time a wild card team in the AFC loses, this gives us a better chance of making the playoffs, right? Because again, those are teams that if we don't win a division, which is possible we don't, those are important teams or important games that we have to worry about. So let's say Lions, Bucks, let's say Buccaneers. Well, I think the Lions will win that game. But anyway, though, so now going into next week, we have a bye week. Everyone else is playing. All right, so now we're 35% chance. Let's say going into next week, what games do we have here? The Lions. Let's say the Lions beat the Ravens. We now go up to a 36% chance to make the playoffs if, again, like I said, on our bye week, we can increase our odds depending on what happens. Okay, so who do the Steelers play? They play the Rams. Let's say the Rams upset the Steelers. Okay. I don't even think that's really upsetting. The Rams actually look pretty dang good right now. I think we got very lucky to beat them. The Colts beat the Browns because Deshaun Watson's still not playing. Okay, let's say the Raiders win that game. Let's say the Saints beat the Jaguars. Okay, so that's gonna help us out a tad bit. Chiefs beat the Chargers. Eagles beat the Dolphins. Vikings, I think 49ers win that game. Seahawks beat the Cardinals. These games don't really matter as much. I'm just putting them in for purposes. But this game's going to matter a lot. Buffalo at New England. But let's say New England gets that W. I mean, again, like I said, that's going to be a tough one. It is a divisional matchup. I think Buffalo wins. But, all right, so now going out of our bye week, we increased a couple percentage points by just other teams losing. Now we play the 49ers. If we beat the 49ers, we're plus 50%, right? Let's say we lose to the 49ers. That's going to be a tough loss. It will. We'll drop down to 34%. But again, depending on what other teams do, and if, things go our way, with Joe 100%, we definitely, again, we control our own destiny. If we beat the Bills, right? So we beat the Browns the last week of the season, okay? Let's say we did beat the Ravens. Like, there are games here where really, if we win them, they drastically give us a better chance to make the playoffs. And I don't mean just a tad bit, I mean drastically. We go 18 percentile just by beating the Ravens here, right? We beat the Browns, we go up to crazy percentiles here. And we don't even know the Deshaun Watson situation. Right now, I think he has a torn rotator cuff in his shoulder. So he's not 100%. He's hurt. He's missing games. And if the Browns start losing a lot of games, it's possible they don't even play him anymore. We beat the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, again, all of these games, we beat the Steelers 1 out of 2 times. We're a 98% chance to make the playoffs, even if we do lose to the Chiefs, even if we lost to the Texans, the Steelers once, right? Beat the Colts, beat the Vikings. We're in the playoffs. So again, it really is going to come down a lot to, not only just what we do, it also will come down to what other teams do in our division, in our conference. So like if the Packers beat the Steelers, that's going to help us out immensely. And then going down this list here, every game is going to matter, not just what we do, but we control our own destiny. We do. We 100% control our own destiny. And yes, it does start tomorrow with beating the Seattle Seahawks. But with Joe Burrow now close to 100% back, there's really the sky is the limit at this point when it comes to this. I mean, yes, we're going to have to win, but it's definitely still a situation where even if we lost the next 3 games, right? Actually, let's not say next. Let's say we lost these 3 games, this game. Let's say we lost one of the games to Pittsburgh. Depending on how everything else shapes out, we could lose these games and still make the playoffs 9-8. I know it's tough, but we could still do it. This is the situations when, again, with Joe being back, this is what pushes us over the edge to beat Pittsburgh twice, right? And get us a 98% chance to make the playoffs. And that's a 98% chance, not, coinciding. Let's look at week 18. I think it's week 17, actually. Yeah, the Ravens play the 49ers. Right? No, they play the Dolphins. Say the Dolphins beat the Ravens. Okay, so now, even with us losing all those games, we're 99 percentile to make the playoffs, even with all that's being said. Let's say we do lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Okay, we're at a 58 percentile, right? But now, all these games matter. Seahawks win, we go up to 66%. Okay, let's say, hypothetically speaking, the Broncos upset the Chargers. Okay, now we're up even higher. Let's say, for example, the Raiders, I don't think that's going to happen. Let's say the Chargers beat the Chiefs, which is possible. The Chargers are a really great team. Let's say the Steelers beat the Ravens in the last week of the season. Again, these things, I know this sounds crazy, but they're all plausible. The 49ers beat the Ravens. I'm not sitting here saying that, the Jets are going to beat, Jets almost beat the Chiefs. I'm not saying, the Panthers are going to beat the Chiefs, but these games I'm talking about are very plausible that they could go the way they go. And if Jacksonville beats the Ravens here, that's another really tough game for Baltimore there. The Bears, they could beat the Browns depending on, Deshaun Watson's health status. I think if Deshaun plays, then, they're going to win that game. But again, like I said, there are situations where we could even lose all of these games and still make the playoffs. I mean, all the games on the list here, not all of the games, period. We can't make the playoffs if we lose every game. But with Joe Burrow back fully healthy and ready to go, it's very plausible we only lose 3 to 4 games this rest of the season, depending on how everything else shapes out. But I think we honestly, with Joe Burrow 100% back, right? This is my realistic expectation, okay? And this has changed based on how the season has gone so far. Yeah. That's how I look at it. And I think Jacksonville is close, but Jacksonville's last second we lose. That's how I kind of look at it so far. I think it's all these games are very plausible, and you can even make the argument why we might lose to the Chiefs. But we still have a 100% chance to make the playoffs. So this team is ready. And now that we have a leader back at helm and ready 100%, this is going to be a good season, guys. It's going to be a good season.